on? I know what's going on. What's going on?
Wake up, Jackie.
It's us, guys. Yikes, Radio. Hi, Noreen. Lori. Hi. Hi. This is Noreen. Yeah. This is Good evening and welcome to the Poetry of Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on YikesRadio.com. Now you know, on the Poetry of Justice Show here on Yikes Radio, this is where social consciousness meets the arts, and we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying, YikesRadio.com. Now guys, I am also on AccelerateRadio.net. We are simultaneously airing here tonight, so we are on Yikes and Accelerated Radio. And that sultry voice you just recently heard are the sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is the owner of this amazing proprietorship here at Accelerated Radio, but he's also my mentor and has dubbed me, your gal, the queen of Yikes Radio, the very first show to air on Yikes. So I always give respect and homage to Mr. Kevin Nash. I am also going to give love, respect, and homage to my benefactor and my sister, Miss Lori Ray Fisher of Ginger Productions and Entertainment Company.
Hey guys.
Woo! As well as two other sponsors who we have here on the Poetry of Justice Show, which is APS Muscle Cars and WMPJ Steelworks. So thank you so much for your contribution. And guys, we're here tonight and we're gonna get this locomotive chugging on further down the trough, guys. You know, we're like, woo-hoo! You know, you go to Disneyland and you be like, oh, let's get on that little train and kind of warm yourself up. You know, yeah. And you get on, you're like, what? That's us, right, guys? We just got in. We got the right, and so we finna go. So get ready. Hold on to your butts. Noreen McClendon's listening and looking and viewing tonight. I've got Miss Linda Foster LeBlanc. Hello, Miss Foster. We love you so much. And Bobby Jenkins is on the realness. Bobby, I want you to try to call in tonight if you can. Our call-in number is area code 310-910. 9676 extension 1. Again, that's area code 310-910-9676. So just take note of that, everybody. But tonight, I have an all-star panel of actors and actresses and divas and divaliciouses and gods and Hercules and Zeus and all of it, Socrates, and all that. We was going down tonight, guys, on the Poetry of Justice Show. But tonight's topic is called the script, right? Because I think everyone in here, these lovely, lovely, lovelies, and we got it. Jeremiah, you can't be stingy with the mic.
I'm not. It's right here.
Okay.
No.
Sort of lean in.
Lean back. Where's that song? Lean back. Lean back.
Sounds like a different kind of show.
See, you can do it. You can go any way.
Okay.
I told you we put it. We put it on now, y'all. Y'all can't get out. You can't get out. Anywho, guys, we're having a blast here already, as you can see. Anyway, we're going to be talking about scripts because I have some amazing artists in the house tonight, and I'm just going to start to my left and allow these lovely individuals to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about why they're amazing. How about we start with you, my daughter? I know. You're an actress and prompted.
No pressure. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica DiGiovanni. I'm an actor in New York and LA, and I'm amazing, number one, because I'm a woman, and thank you so much. Thousands of people here. I think being an artist is a pretty amazing thing, and telling stories and allowing people to see themselves in your vulnerability and your storytelling. So I think that's pretty amazing.
Okay, and I
like to make people laugh.
Yay! I jotted things down. I wanted to jot that down, something that you said. I'm sorry. So
Okay,
please
yeah, no
forgive
worries.
me.
Oh, it's so colorful. Amazing.
She's color
Yeah.
coordinated.
In order, so otherwise, I go way off track. But I want to hear what you said. I got Because that's you sparked an interest
Oh,
and
good.
awareness of a question. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, gorgeous.
You're welcome.
And who's next?
Hi, I'm Jeremiah O'Brien. I'm an actor and a teacher, and I teach at USC. And I'm amazing because I get to work with the great Lori Fisher at USC. So I'm amazing by extension.
All right, so that's you just gonna show us like that?
I'm just gonna say, like, well, I'm
You're a
nice to
friend of the
meet you.
POJ show.
Well, I'm a friend of the POJ
There
show,
you go.
and I love what I do. I think it's not just a vocation; it's an avocation. I'm called to this. I love every facet of the collaboration of acting and theater and filmmaking. It's a labor of love. So I throw myself into it.
You are amazing. I know my sister doesn't speak highly about very many people, but I guess your little itchery may just get exposed here tonight. And so she, no, literally, she does not speak highly of very many people. Yikes, radio. You're here, so I don't know what that tells you. That tells you a great deal. It's paramount, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yes.
I hope I can get on your sister's list.
I know.
Sounds like a good mix.
Wait till she hears. Laura, I don't understand why you don't recall this amazing gentleman. You don't remember me and George on the set of Chess?
I do. When I saw George, I
Yes.
remembered him on Chess.
Because you know that was the
Yeah.
grand finale of Chess was
Exactly.
intense. So yeah, I remember that.
I'm here for
With
that.
Jonas.
The major.
Yeah, I remember that. That's a great memory. A little bit sketchy sometimes, but it was good, right?
It was amazing time.
good.
It was
It was good.
amazing. How are you
Yes,
tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm George Wrightster. I'm an actor. And I'm here because Jackie loves me. I love her, so
Absolutely.
yeah, just here to share my gift, and it's allowed me to open up in ways that I didn't know I could and was willing to. So it's a great journey for me. So,
An actor behaves.
An
Can
actor
you tell us more about how you do that?
yes.
And definitely, Lori, do you see this one over here? Without
do.
further ado,
Mhm.
I really do have a great deal of respect for you, and I know you be thinking I'd be an extra down to the ground, because I know my daughter has probably told you I'm extra down. But I'm so down for your stuff. Seriously,
Thank
you are breathtaking. I've met you first as an individual person, but when I saw your work, what was that amazing play we saw? I know.
Oh,
With the Siobhan was the star. And you had the braids in your hair, you was looking all cute, and you had the, you know what I'm talking about?
And after,
that's Dr.
No.
Roon, right?
and
Uh-huh.
after,
See. Then it just took me, it was just, I went to a whole depth, deeper level of respect for you.
Thank you.
And then
thank
not to
you.
mention these other new extra things, but we can talk about this further down the track. Siobhan Santa Claus.
Yes, I'm Siobhan. I am a graduate of USC, studied acting there, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, so I am a transplant to Los Angeles.
So you're just destined for greatness.
Hopefully,
Right?
that's the goal.
Son, Brooklyn grown,
Not Brooklyn grown, was originally from Jamaica, so immigrated to Brooklyn, right?
which makes it even more enriching.
Right, exactly. So just multifaceted. Thank you for the
Boom,
shout out.
shakalaka.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I'm a transplant, and I would say I'm not amazing yet. I'm aspiring to amazingness right now, so we'll see.
Well, how about I can have my opinion?
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Because see, I have so many much more years, and by the time you get to where you think you want to go, my ass may be gone. So I want to enjoy
Let's
you
hope it doesn't take that
in
long.
your
Let's hope it doesn't take
splendor.
that long.
Yes.
No, not at all.
You know what I
And
mean?
Siobhan's a friend of the POJ. Remember he did
Siobhan is a regular here.
He is. The
Yeah, well, you've been acting
choreographer,
funny style because you've been working the pants off of him over
There,
at the
there,
university. He
there,
couldn't even
There,
breathe.
there. Hard work
There.
builds character, right, actors?
I agree.
Hard work
Yeah, if you're
builds character.
allergic to hard work, you'll be in this career.
Lori, I'm going to have you pick our first panelist. And then we're going to start some little bit of questions here. Hold on. Don't nobody move.
How do
You
you
see her
do
in
the
the
camera?
cut over there trying to act off.
Oh, there she is. Let me zoom in on her.
But
Whoa.
I cannot go any further on this
There
talk
she is.
without my gal, Miss Frida Ross, giving some love to our
Oh,
people.
Frida. Looking all sexy today.
I
Look at her,
know.
sensual. I am amazing.
But
Yes.
listen up, if you are
Uh-oh.
under 49, don't even try. Don't
Don't
be in her
inbox
DMs.
her.
Don't
55.
inbox her. Oh, it went up.
You stay out of my inbox.
That was impactful. The loveliness freedom.
I love you guys. You
And then,
know.
of course, the gorgeous and wonderfully talented Whitley Gonzalez. How you doing, beautiful?
Good.
Willie got a job today. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Dante, you gotta give us some sound effects out there.
Right.
Right now. There we go.
Oh my God.
Got a job.
Yeah.
Baby. Yeah.
Yeah, mama.
All right. Okay, Lori, who you gonna pick?
Lori, who am I gonna
Maybe like the match
first?
game.
On the match game. Okay, I remember match game. And so I am trying to match with, oh my gosh, the pressure. George. George, it's you. Yeah, there we go. Q, you're the first one up. Aren't you excited? Okay, there we go.
Shoot.
I have no choice.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yes,
a
Ann.
little bit about your upbringing.
Wow.
What part of your upbringing, being that young lad, if you will, I'm talking
Lad.
6th grade. Let's do 6th grade.
Alright.
grade.
Okay.
I can't remember.
6th grade, young lad.
That's a good year.
Do you have any?
Like a fine wine. Yeah, it's a very good year. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Would you have at that time? Look at you, you really doing the eyebrows and everything. I cannot. No, seriously, straight move. At that time, did you have any idea about your talents
No.
for acting?
No, not at all.
6th grade.
No, you did what you did for fun. You went to choir rehearsal. You had fun because all your friends were in it. So you participated in musicals because your friends were in your teacher, your choral teacher. Oh, you're so wonderful. You sing so gracefully. We love what you do. So it was fun.
But you took the class.
I took the class because I love music. Yes.
But I'm thinking maybe it was there. Maybe that root was there, but it was just part of the, everybody went to the, to the little choral class. Is that what you're thinking, that it only developed there, would you say?
I would say so, and probably at home. You back then, Michael Jackson
Yeah,
was
I'm just gonna say
everybody.
exactly.
You know,
That's what I used to do
yeah,
too.
we idolized Michael Jackson, so we were always trying to imitate what he did, and just do his little performances and things like that. But really, I was a shy kid. I was so shy. You
Are you
couldn't
serious?
I was so shy.
God, does anybody have George's mother's phone number? If family members, I don't know if I can
Oh
believe this.
man, no, you would be shocked. If I could get 2 words out, it would be amazing. Other than to participate in choir rehearsal. Other than that, I was very recluse-like.
When did
But-
that trajectory change?
Probably after I got out of high school. Yeah.
So all throughout middle school,
Yeah.
you
I was just a quiet guy, played sports, did my thing, and when it was time to participate in things that I liked, I was free to do that, but it still was with some reservation of wanting to be liked and didn't want to be disliked, and I couldn't wrap my head around my own self at that point in time, so I was self-conscious a lot.
okay, alrighty. Siobhan,
Yes, ma'am.
a little bit about your upbringing. Let's go to about.
Still bringing up.
Absolutely. Never done growing.
There you go.
Never. When did you know? I thought I heard somebody. Hi, Miko. Lee, you not get on the mic tonight?
Hey, Miko.
Hi. Hi, Miko. Miko's here, everybody. Hello. Okay, so we're talking about your upbringing, I understand. But okay, I'm going back to early lad years. Okay, so
Yeah.
Siobhan, 4th grade. I want to give me age
Okay.
10. Age 10.
Okay.
Where are you? Where are you? In U.S. Are you
I'm here, now
Jamaica?
I'm here, now I'm here. I'm in the 4th grade, I'm here, and I'm at a magnet school for the arts. So every day, Monday through Friday, I'm in dance, or I'm in, I don't know, choir or something like that.
So you get to rewind us. So you gave me a good starting point. So go backward to
Okay.
that first moment of talent, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And did someone tell you, or did you tell them?
I think it was one of those things where it was kindergarten, I remember it, and then I went to a magnet school for the arts. So, every kid had to do something arts related, and you got to pick and choose, but it ended up being that I was in everything. It was the dancing, the singing, and acting. So, it was something that happened along with me wanting to do it. It happened accidentally because it was when you stayed after school, when your mom was at work or whatever the case might be. When you're after school, it was an arts magnet, so it was the arts regardless, so I couldn't escape it at that point. But the first thing I ever did was the choir, was singing, and then first grade I took a jazz class.
Did you just say, I sound good? I mean, you know, like when you were singing, did you just say to yourself like that?
I think that when you're a kid, everybody has that high register, so you can kind of just know.
Yeah.
And nobody, it sounds cute to everybody, so you don't really know. I don't think it's not until after puberty until the voice drops that you really get to figure out where the voice is. But it was one of those things where I was in the choir, but I was also really, really shy as well. But
Okay, let me
not
write
when
that down.
I was on stage. That's when I wasn't shy.
Electrifying.
I don't know about
You
that.
know what I mean? Like Grease is the word. That's when I fell in love with the artist, with John Travolta.
Not John.
John, yeah, and that little Sandy. Remember that? Sandy?
yeah.
I used to want to be Rizzo. Man, I wanted to rule school. Did you want to rule
Rizzo.
Rizzo, you didn't like Rizzo?
She said,
Why not? No? Nah. Who? Who would you want to be? Sandy? Lori doesn't want to be Rizzo. Who would you want to be?
I'm not a big Grease fan.
Why not?
I know.
What about
It's
Kaneki?
blasphemous, right?
Not even for
Blasphemous.
Kaneki?
Well, you know what? We have the original cast member. What were they called? The Thunderbirds.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Ward on our
Oh.
faculty. He was one of the original Thunderbirds.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Guys, we have got to get on our dialogue here because no one is manning the fort here.
Well,
right?
I can't see.
So what we're gonna do, I thank everyone for listening, and I know you guys are like, what is going on? And we're not writing back. Hello, Doc. Hello, Noreen says that I believe it. A lot of actors are shy. Noreen believes this guy. She believes this guy. Noreen's an actress, you guys, in her own way.
And a relationship specialist.
Yes, look at Miss Frida Ross on Facebook, y'all. See
I
her?
know, look
Miss
at
Frida Ross.
Frida.
Yeah.
Sexy look. Go
Yeah.
girl.
Don't you love me? I know
Absolutely.
I love you. Eat so cute. How you guys go give her a shout out? You go there.
If I had to pick someone for Grease, it would be the one who dyed her hair pink, like an Easter
Yes.
egg. What was her name?
Frenchie.
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 She's the best. She's the best.
She's my
That's who
favorite.
you would pick?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess I'm a skank that I wanted
Yeah.
to be Rizzo.
Rizzo's She's strong. She's a take no,
She's
no
the alpha.
crap kind of
We
lady.
can ask Willie feel like doing. You want to do some of these movies?
Will they just come up on the screen?
Yes.
I'm middle-aged, so we're working it out.
I got you.
Is that what they call them?
Okay,
That's
that
it.
is figure it out. Guys, we got
It comes up on the same. We have some technical difficulties. Look, there's stuff now.
Like you want to comment.
Okay, there we go.
Say hi to Carl, everybody. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
Hello, my gorgeous, lovely.
Oh hello.
Hello, darling.
Hello. I have a
Questions?
question.
You got no. Okay.
Oh, do I need to talk into? Is this?
Please
can you hear
do.
me? Okay. Hello.
You got it.
Try to make this as least awkward as possible.
Okay. Do you want to go straight to the age, or should I select? I want you to tell me your age when you knew your talent. You knew that I'm talented. I've got something here.
Oh, I think probably 6th grade. Yeah, 12th. Yeah, it was a really intense year for me, and that's where I found that the theater was a place where I could escape and I could make people laugh, and that people enjoyed watching me, and that made me feel good, and so.
And so,
Yeah.
what was the first? Like, was it a play, or what? You know what I'm saying? What got you into it? You know what I mean? Was it just a school play, or was it something that you actually had to like audition for, or try out for?
Well, actually, okay, so there's this thing called Speech Team. I don't know if have you guys ever heard of Speech Team?
Woo!
Yeah, oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Yay, nerds, we're so nerdy. So Speech Team is competitive theater.
Awesome.
Believe it or not, that exists. Yeah, and so there is something called humorous duet acting where there's two people that do scenes together. It's timed, and then you go to these competitions at different schools, and you win or you lose or whatever. And they had asked me to fill in for someone who dropped out, and I did it, and we won the thing, and that's kind of like where I started to realize, oh, I really like this, and this is saving me and giving me a community and making me feel like I'm a part of something. So that's how that whole thing went down. And then I did the musicals and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, what was your first musical?
My very first musical was The Little Mermaid. Yeah.
Really?
yeah. It
What was that?
pretty
What was
great.
that like? Was it an amazing experience?
It was pretty great, but I was like featured dancer #1, so you know, I got a little taste though, and I was like, I'm gonna be in the front line.
I know, right,
Yeah.
the power.
I'm like doing the dance moves, and I'm like, that's gonna be me one day, you know. So yeah.
That was my moment. And, the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I was like,
Oh, yes.
I prefer the dust.
And then me and George, I tell you, we was on Chestnut, and we had our moments.
I had my moments.
You remember your line?
No.
I
Some of it I do,
I
but most
can't.
of it I try to forget.
Sometimes some of the songs will just still be in my,
Yes.
you know what I mean, like in the
Yes.
queue on your phone or whatever, and you
Exactly.
just be
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
one night in
Exactly.
Bangkok and the
Oh, my
world
God.
going for sure.
Wow.
Woo! But it was really fun times, huh? Anywho, we're back on the questionnaire docket, everybody, on our panel here tonight. Siobhan. Hi, Natasha Barbie. Siobhan, question for you.
Yes.
What do you value most about yourself?
Well, I think it transitions into one of my philosophies or principles that I take seriously as an actor, which is that you always have to be a student of life. You constantly have to be willing to learn and engage and observe and comprehend and constantly transform and go through that metamorphosis and constantly introspect. So that's something that I can do easily and without needing a character to do it or without needing a role to do it. It's just my everyday. It's how I get through the day. So that's something that I value, just my ability to always be a student of life and be reflective and introspective and always be willing to listen to whatever the universe is telling me.
Amen. I like that. What about you, George? What do you value most about yourself?
My ability to get along with people. Yeah, I feel like I can adapt in any situation, and I just love people. I've always been like that, so I've always followed the motto of treating people as if the way I want to be treated.
Yes.
So it's kind of carried throughout life for me, so it's been good. It's been good. It's been a good ideal and focus to stay with. So.
I like that. What about you, Jeremiah?
I would say absolutely my adaptability. I can adapt to most any situation. But then also my curiosity. I think Einstein said always have a holy curiosity, never stop questioning. And we were just talking about earlier about constantly growing and improving and I don't know how you get away from it. So I embrace those things, the constant learning and the constant change in one's life. And so I would say that the adaptability along with the curiosity.
Now, with your acting abilities and your talents, how have you been able to channel your energies, if you will?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I think that acting and acting training specifically is the source. I think all roads lead to that Rome. You know what I mean? Like, people have evolved over the eons through tool making and storytelling. Like, that is how our brains have evolved. And so I love telling stories. I love making people laugh. I would say that oh man, this is a very complicated, complex question. I would say that the thing that is probably best answers this question for me is Joseph Campbell's hero's journey cycle. And that is like the different stages. I think there's 17 stages that a hero has to go through on a journey. And you see this in, like, whatever your favorite film is or favorite story is, but everybody's on a journey. And so kind of understanding that for my life, understanding it for anyone's life that I encounter, that everybody's on their journey and everybody's the hero of their own story, and that everybody has a story to tell and a struggle that they're carrying and the battles that they're fighting and the allies that come and help them and the different reinventions and resurrections of themselves, and so I would say I would say that has probably been, you know, at least at the top of mind right now, one of the most critical things that has helped me. But also as an actor, that it's a daily thing, it's a daily maintenance, like going to the gym, it's like working out, you know. And so I think that kind of rigor and hard work, you know, is part of my DNA, you know.
When you're in character,
Yeah.
and when you're in production, if you will,
Yeah.
and you're rehearsing mode, and you're in character, how easy or not is it for you to switch between that actor and that script and that role and Jeremiah?
It depends on the character. It depends on how close the character is to me or how far it's from me. Like if I'm some characters, I did the Kentucky Cycle, which is this really long, dense play that has like 2 parts and is usually done in 2 different days and can be like a 4-hour event, you know. But that was really fun, and it was all these characters that were Southern and like speaking in these different, you know, Southern accents from different parts of the South, and that was just so fun that I was able to turn it on and off. Whereas if I play Hamlet, or some other characters that I play, like maybe real people, I have to kind of immerse myself in it and kind of walk around in that character. Otherwise, I can't access it, or I don't feel as honest or authentic. So I think it's different depending on the character.
What about you, pretty lady? Question for you, with regard to your acting mode, switching back and forth. How easy or not is that for you?
It's similar to Jeremiah's answer. I think the more emotional a role is for me, I think the harder it is for me to switch out of it, because innately for me, vulnerability is harder for me to show people in my normal life. So when I get in that space artistically, I try to stay there, especially when we're working. I just kind of get into what I call the zone.
Absolutely,
No.
absolutely.
You called this.
Yeah, no, everybody calls it the zone. The vortex. You know, so the more emotional the role is, I think the more I tend to stay in it, and it's harder for me to jump out of it. Just because I want to when I'm in there, I just want to explore more and see how deep I can go. But you know, if I'm doing something like a farce, you know, a comedy or something like that, it's usually easier for me to just jump out of it.
It's a little more, okay.
Yeah. But it's not like that method-y stuff where I'm like, call me, you know, Larry,
Right.
you know, like, and, you know, you can call me Jessica, and I can talk to the director, you know.
Got it. Those things matter to me, you guys, because I don't know why. They pop in my head, and so I have to ask the questions when they pop in my head. So I'm sorry about that. That's just kind of how we flow here in the Poetry Justice Show. No, but really, so George, we have an incoming caller. Look at us. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Is that right, Rod?
What's up? Is this Roddy
Roddy Rod's in the house. What's up? How you doing? What? Yikes! You better be thinking about us. I don't even know why you're not here.
Hey, Rod. How you doing?
He said, "Hey, Frida."
Hey, Rod, I miss you.
Uh-oh.
We got that ass.
He gonna get you, Frida.
We got them.
We have some amazing.
Emotions.
What do you say? I have
He said,
actors
"What are you
in the
talking
house
about, emotions?"
tonight, and so we're talking. We're talking about getting in and out of character, because you know that whole Power of the Peace show is coming back. So we've got to talk about staying in character when you're
Absolutely.
exercising certain rights and dominant. That show, yes. You know, I saw your brother the other night up at the store. I saw your brother. Did he tell you? And he was like, "Oh, that next show, Jackie, that was some hot stuff." And he was like, "Y'all need to do another one." I said, "Yeah, we're gonna do another one." I told her.
An encore performance.
I told Lori and Frida, we're gotta schedule a date. Lord, you gotta give us for January.
Okay, Rod,
Roddy
I'm gonna text you.
And you got to. We got some divas in the house tonight. In the house
Okay.
tonight. All right, I love you.
All right, Rod.
All right, Rod. Have a good night.
Aw.
That's Roddy Rod, guys.
Roddy Rod.
Roddy
Rod.
Faithful listener.
Got
Yeah.
some
He
fans.
partying early.
Roddy Rod.
This is how we do it. George, the word talent. Talent. What does the word talent mean to you?
Ooh, you asking some deep
I
questions.
told you I had some good stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to go deep.
Well, because to me, talent is subjective.
Yeah.
There you
And-
go.
And each person, gift and talent can be displayed in different ways. Some to some likings and some not to some
Exactly.
So I think that, see, I'm all about, I try to be, especially when I think about acting and, you know, this crazy business that we're into, because there is so much negativity around it sometimes, especially when you audition after audition after audition, and then you don't get roles. And then so you finally break through and you finally get a part, then you start to feel good about yourself. You think you're on your way, and then next thing you know, you don't get another role for a long period of time. So, and sometimes it can be discouraging, so you question your talent. And then that leads to either you working harder and deciding that you're gonna continue, or you quit. But that doesn't mean you're not talented, because it's subjective to the person who's watching and viewing and choosing you at that particular point in time. So I believe that anyone who puts the work in and they have talent, but sometimes they don't believe in themselves enough to let their talent be discovered, or to let it come out. Because I always say the first time I went on an audition, I will never forget it, because now, you go to your acting coaches, you go to school, you do different things to prepare for it. But there's nothing like when you go in that, I call it the dark room.
In the dark room, okay.
When you go in the dark room and you close the door, and I don't care, you try to bring in what your acting coach taught you, but there's a whole different environment happening in there, and sometimes it takes you by surprise. And you have to get accustomed to being in that moment.
Can you describe that to us a little more in depth? Like, what is that like? That moment for you when you're in there, you walked in. What was the energy like for you?
The energy was, because sometimes casting is different. And you may show up and there's just a guy and a camera reading lines. There may be a guy and a camera and someone else reading lines. There may be the client and casting. So it's different depending on what it is you're going in for and your preparation that you have prepared before you got in there. Sometimes you don't get lines till you actually get there. So now you got to sit there and you got to go through some lines really quick and be able to put yourself in character with what they're looking for instantly. There's no warm up. There's nobody to suggest things to you. All you have to do is to rely on you and what you bring. Not what you think, and kind of what you hope that you think what they want. But mostly for me, it's like, okay, let me bring what I bring. I read it, I see it. If I prepare before or immediately when I get there, I try to bring me to that role. And if sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And, you gotta live with it.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Siobhan, what do your experience? Piggybacking on what George saying, your commentary on that, and then your experience.
In terms of the audition process.
Correct.
Well, I don't think that the audition room is a dark room. I think it's actually the best place to be. I don't fear auditions. I'm not afraid of them. I think that's one thing I'd say drama school has really taught me to embrace is the audition process. And that the audition is just another opportunity to act. I think I'm a bit lucky and fortunate that I'm getting into the business when the audition process is shifting to being on tape. So
I
there's a
hate
bit
that.
of tailoring that I get to do.
Yeah, I don't like
There's a
that.
bit-
Look at George.
George, he doesn't like
But
that.
Siobhan's
What
having a
you
good
talking
time
about?
with it, so I'm gonna let him go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's a bit of tailoring that I get to do. There's a bit of preparation that I get to do in terms of not necessarily time, but it's a product that I put together, right? In terms of I fix the lights, I set I pick who reads with me, and I get to manipulate that audition to be whatever I want it to be in terms of staying within the framework of the script, of course. And, everything that you learn about the audition techniques, et cetera, et cetera. But so there's that. I think that embracing it and having this experience of doing a lot of things on camera and on tape, it's forced me to manipulate my skills in not only as an actor but also as a cameraman, also as my own editor,
Lighting,
also as my own lighting. So it's forced my mind to expand and open up and look at acting not just as me being this character walking into this room saying these lines, but how do I fit into the world of the script, but the room, what is my, something as simple as what is my relationship to the window or whatever the case might be. It's forced me to look at things a bit more expansive and broader, and it's not just about me in my mind as the actor. Yeah.
Justin, so do you like it? Do you like this new approach?
Love it. I
You
think
do?
it's yeah, and I think it's really just the embrace of the audition process. It's just an opportunity. Again, I like what you said in terms of talent. It is subjective, and what I define talent as is the belief in yourself. That's really what I define talent as. Which Denzel had this speech where he said when he got to Fordham and they asked him what he wanted to be, he said he wanted to be the greatest actor in the world, and he said over time he realized he just wanted to be the best actor he could be. And that's one of my favorite speeches because that's what it boils down to. So that's how I end every audition. That's how I approach every character. How can I be of service to this character? Be of service to the playwright or the screenwriter? But bring that approach. Be my best as this person. One of the fundamental principles we learn is judging the character. So if I'm not judging the character, then I'm constantly the best version of this person that I can be, which is reflective of the audition process, the talent, just life in general.
Absolutely.
Hey, maybe I should have went to USC. I like this man right here. I like this young man.
Speaking of recruitment,
Uh-oh.
Lori G, it's your time to shine. We have the Dean of the University of Southern California School of Theater here, everybody. Vice Dean. I'm
Vice
sorry.
Dean.
What did I say?
Dean.
I speak.
Speak life, there we go.
Okay, Lori, academia.
Uh,
Professionalism in academia. Talk to us.
Well, I have a question for the panel, right? So a big part of my job, particularly my former job, is to go out and to recruit students to come to our school, both undergraduate and graduate acting. The graduate acting is pretty easy sell, right? Because you're an older population. But for an 18 to 22-year-old, to ask someone to give you $200,000 to be able to study this craft that doesn't necessarily require a degree, right? So I'm interested in knowing, I don't know all of your backgrounds, but I know some of you have, gotten your MFA, your BA, conservatory programs. What are your thoughts about formal training through academia versus experiential and just, getting a copy of Backstage West and more for it?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I think everybody has their own journey. That sounds like a cop-out, but it is true. I also think it depends, I want to start with relationships. Relationships are hugely important in any environment, right? Like your family, your friends, right? And the entertainment industry is no different in this regard. And I would say it's very, very, very relationship oriented. So if you have the benefit and the I guess the good fortune of knowing someone or people who are in the business and you have relationships where you could be, like for example, Russell Crowe, the Academy Award winning actor Russell Crowe, he didn't get any formal conservatory or academic training in acting, but his dad was a cameraman, and so he was on set since he was like 6 years old, you know what I mean? So you're getting that kind of on-the-job training, observation. I mean, that's like you know, I don't know, a month of that is a master class. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Right.
And so, but if you don't know anybody, then you know, you go the route that many people have gone, like many Academy Award winners, like Cate Blanchett, Jeffrey Rush, those are Meryl Streep. She went to Yale, and so a lot of people go get training because they one need to learn what the craft is, and they, you know, they have some talent, or someone said, hey, you're funny, or you're talented, or whatever, and then they need to go and cultivate that. But it also helps with relationships. And so, for example, USC, answering this question of like why go to USC or any other very, very expensive school, I would say it has to be about probably, well, at least half of that question is about the relationships that you have access to when you leave that school. And USC has a pretty fantastic network, you know.
Right.
That's what I would
George?
say.
When I weigh that question, I think more, not so much about dollars and cents, it's more about goals and what my goals are, as far as the business in itself. And if you're gonna pay $200,000 for that type of education, you better be serious. And two, I mean, see, I love USC, and I've never even gone to school. But let me set this stage real quick before I say this, because I got to answer to some people when I leave. So I grew up watching SC, so I became a fan of SC as a child.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually an Oregon Duck fan.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take, because my son
Wow.
played at Oregon.
Here's my
He
George.
played at Oregon, so I gotta go where my boy went to school at.
Of course.
And we were
So-
getting along so well.
I know. So, but I still love SC. You saw me watching the game
I
before we
did,
started the show. So I'm an SC fan, but I'm an Oregon fan first.
Okay.
So now let me go back to SC and acting. And I think that what the school provides, the opportunity, and like you said, relationships, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. You know, you have some rivals across town that really don't like you. You know,
Yeah.
UCLA.
It's fine.
But
Someone has to go there.
yeah, but I think I love the school. The school is unlike any other school I've been to, and I've been to a lot of colleges. I mean, not that I've attended that many colleges, but I traveled around and
Right.
you know, had the opportunity to go to some different schools to check out the education system. So, in SC, it's a great place to study. I know people who studied there, and they loved it, and they've done well. Just like New Yorkers. I don't know what it is about New Yorkers, since you brought up New York. I got a lot of friends in the acting business from New York, and they have something about them that I admire, and it's just something about they get up and go, and the willingness to try, even though, you know, no matter what the obstacles
What
is.
the odds are.
And they do
against all
well,
odds.
and they do well in this
And I,
business.
yeah, and I think it's a perfect segue into
Yeah.
this question because New York values education.
Yeah.
You value training, you value conservatories, you value taking every opportunity you can to learn the craft and to study the craft and to be a part of the craft. My philosophy on acting as an education is it's one of the most important things you could do. Laverne Cox said one of the most important things you could do as an actor is to train, and then train some more, and then train some more. And I think that training doesn't have to be a $200,000 school, but training does have to be this constant exploration of not only the pedagogical practices that exist in acting, but also simply the explorative elements of acting that you can unearth. You can get as cliche as you like to about that, but education is important because you learn these vocabulary words that help with
Yeah, I'm
the
checking
craft.
that last one out.
Yeah,
How to
that-
grab or that thing that you said. Yeah, I gotta write that
I'm
down.
still
so I can look it up
stunned.
later.
We're gonna rewind Dante
Oh,
later.
no, no,
This
no.
is at point 645
No,
of the
no, no,
show.
But no, it's
That's what
absolutely-
Miko do. That's the Miko and Siobhan in an
Not
insider
at all.
bust on your ass shit that they should.
That's a
You know,
huge
she'll just
critical
bust
theory.
out and like,
I know.
yeah, you don't know that word, mommy. And I'm like, well, all right then.
Not at all.
That's $200,000 education.
There you go.
But no, I really do think that education is important because you learn these vocabulary words, and I think the three most important ones you could learn, the three most important ones you could learn is action, objective, and intention. And you repeat those over and over again, and those are the three things that you can always fall on the sword on, you can fall back on, you can run to whenever you need them. and education allows you to really learn those things. I believe that not every role, film or television, specific, the stage is a little different. You kind of always have to flex that emotional muscle a bit since it's live and in front of people. But I think that film and television, there are instances where I'd like to be lazy, and my craft allows me to do that, where I don't want to give all of this to this role, and it might just be to pay the bills next month. We have to do that as well in this business. It happens.
I have some stuff about that.
So, I mean, the education just allows me to walk in, be as meticulous and as strategic about the performance, so to speak, as possible in and out. And I like that as well. But one thing I will say is growing up, and this is specific to social justice, because being an actor and being a black man specifically, it's my absolute focus and concentration to not only be an example to every single black and brown boy and girl out there, but one thing I think that does get lost in our communities is this aspect of education, and we don't necessarily have the access to get the training and to really touch the places that we need to, or that the industry might require us to, because if you look at any Academy Award winner that is of color, every single one of them, except maybe Louis Gossett, right, back in the 80s, is trained. They all went to a school, they all graduated from a program, Viola, every single one you can name, they have all gone to a formal education program. It may not be the best for us in terms of, we can get into a bit more of the nitty-gritty specifics there, but on the social justice front, just for me, I think that education is really important, because I can always take it back to the community, and we have a love and a passion and a care for the arts so much as black people, just in general, we love to do it, that a formal and traditional sense of an approach, I think, is important to bring back to the community. So I think everyone who can should go get an acting education or arts education.
I gotta go get me an education.
Told you.
I go school.
Go to school.
La escuela. What about you, Jessica? Uh-oh. What are you going for?
No, go ahead.
Where, wow, nah.
So yeah, wow.
Yaps Radio.
All that. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I would agree that the education definitely for me was about the relationships and the connections that I built. I went to school in New York City. I actually went to Fordham, and Denzel came and talked to us, which was amazing. Fordham University, at Lincoln Center in New York, and Denzel went there, and he actually came and spoke to us while I was a student there, and it was very inspiring, and I agreed with so much of what he said. But you need. I think it's important to know when you create a life in this business to know the basis, where where it started, the Greeks and the Shakespearean plays and characters, and Commedia dell'arte, and how all of these created a foundation and a format for what we now watch on TV all the time. I think that's important, and also you learn how. For me, I found my own process in the education. And I think it is important to get in the field and actually work with other actors and get on set and witness that. But I do think that there is something about the rigor of class every day, a schedule. It teaches you discipline, because I think when you don't get an education in acting, and you really have to have that intrinsic motivation. And if you don't have that work ethic, and Jeremiah and I have been talking about this for a while, of having our own, as professional actors, now that we're out of school and working, when we're not working, what do we do every day to keep our instrument honed and ready and fresh? And he has so many resources from where he went to school, and I have resources from where I went to school, and so we can pull from that to create a vocal warm-up for ourselves and work on monologues and scene work. And so I think for me, it really taught me the value of hard work and discipline in a profession that doesn't really require that of you necessarily. I think there's a lot of people that are scooting by in this profession, and
even at the professional level, Jessica.
maybe,
Scab
yeah.
here and there?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think, you see someone like Meryl who puts in so much work, who has been working for so long. Someone like Denzel, where you see these people transform. And then you see someone else who's, making just as much money but can bring it in the box office and is maybe phoning it in or whatever. And I'm not saying that people don't work hard at that level, but I'm just saying that there's a difference in the quality of work. Does that make sense?
The Walmart versus the
Not the Walmart.
Right. And it's, it's a challenge. I catch myself being lazy, like some days I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't want to do a vocal warm up, or I don't want to work on sides today. But like, if I want to get better and I want to create a profession for myself, that's what I have to do. And I love it. Yeah. If there was something else I love to do, trust me, I would be doing it.
You do the same thing, you
Yeah,
have the same
it's-
passion.
Yeah, but
Wow.
there's nothing else.
Well, education is key here, people.
It is.
George, are you going to go back and give USC $200,000? Now that you're on that amazing commercial that you got, player, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Cha-ching!
You better stop it. Not at this point, but I do love this lady. She talked so much about you when we were in chess. She talked about you so much.
Did she? Was it
I
good
felt
thing?
like I knew you. And now that I finally get a chance to meet you, I'm so happy.
I am too.
I'm so
She's a
happy.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, I love my dick. We're having amazing times here tonight at the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips. We are talking about acting, everyone. And I have amazing guests in the studio tonight. And so where we're talking a little bit about some of the ins and the outs and success and talent and the subject. And then Siobhan just gave us some humongous words that we have to rewind back to 6:45 p.m. on the tape, that's audio, the YouTube, and then we'll have to pause it, listen to it, write it down,
Look it
and
up.
find out
Look it
where
up,
the
sure.
root was from. So that's
Word
what
of
we're
the
gonna
day.
right? Word of the
Word
day.
of the
Word
day.
genius. That's what
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing. Hello, a little bit of word
Yes,
genius.
we're genius.
Do you guys want to take some more questions, or you guys want to get ready for break time?
I
We
have
gotta
a
be.
question for the panel.
I'm gonna shut up and give us
I
some
know,
more.
once I get started, it's like all kinds of things. So, guys, I'm sure you've seen this. Like, you're in the mall and somebody comes up and says, "Oh, your baby or your little person is so beautiful and talented. Give me $500 and they can come down and we'll do headshots and we'll get them started." What are your opinions about those types of things? And what are your opinions in general about child actors?
Go ahead, Siobhan.
It's a scam.
What?
Hey, let me put you on camera. It's a
Um,
scam.
But
There was one in
That's not a
Ontario
time for that.
Mills, and my little goddaughter got all caught up, right? Because they had Minnie Mouse, and they told her, "Oh, if you come, you're so beautiful," and then there's gonna be the Descendants 2 people there, and it gets the kids all hyped up, right? And then there's somebody who's going around telling the parents until they got to me, like, "Oh, really? If I have to give you money, no,"
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But there were people signing up to take their kids.
Well, because that's how powerful a dream is, you know, that's
Yeah.
how powerful,
Yeah.
which is
That's it.
actually quite despicable when you think
Yeah.
about it, I think, is to prey on someone's dream, you know, it's like corrupting their love, you know what I mean? It's particularly, I think, reprehensible, but I would agree with Siobhan, you don't have to pay any money
Money.
upfront,
Yeah.
I mean, to a person to
Right.
garner work in this industry. Now, you do have to pay for your headshots,
Right.
you gotta pay to get your reel made if you don't have any. So, excuse me, so you do need tools and you have to pay for tools, like if you were to become a carpenter or an electrician, you gotta go to, I don't know, Home Depot or Sears, whatever, and get your tools, you gotta buy your tools, but in terms of getting work, you know, you get an agent, you get a manager, and they get you work, but these places that you pay to go to that say that, hey, we're gonna get you in the next movie, that's a scam, yeah, for sure.
But
Make
on
up
child-
that. That's a scam.
But on child actors, I will say that I would say that I think child actors are important and they are necessary, and you know the union does protect them as much as the union can. But what I will say is there is just in a lot of our training and a lot of our practices, at the end of everything, they always tell you to go back to that childlike instinct. And there's just something special about children on camera and kids on camera that they bring out the best in you as an actor, but they are just so raw and they're so invested because Arya Stark. Macy Williams, she had an interview where she talked about when she was younger and on the set of Game of Thrones how she did it, and she said something. She just said, "Well, I was 9, I was 10. I just fully believed the story, and I didn't." And I just acted, and I think that's what's so special about children. They aren't yet tainted by the world and what you or their insecurities yet, so they can just be feeling the best. And so I think it's important and absolutely necessary. And I love to study kids and what they do and take some of that for myself.
No, I'm assuming about little Gabriel.
Yeah, they're so open and they're so full, especially for voice training and voice work. They're so necessary because they'll scream at the top of their lungs and not hurt a thing, be right back at it the next day. And we use that in our craft and in our work. So I love kids. They're necessary. Yeah.
Speaking of kids,
Okay, I would say, for any parent that is interested in having a child participate in the entertainment industry, to understand it looks cute on TV. When you see all the little kids and doing what they do and they're having fun, to you, that it's work. So at some point in time, they're gonna realize that it's not fun all the time and it is work. So make sure that as they get into the business that they, and if they're growing in the business and they're moving quickly or whatever the pace of it is, and they keep advancing in the roles that they achieve, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. And they go through the same things that we go through as adults. I just had, my grandson happens to be a child actor.
Yeah.
So he's been on probably, I can't even count the number of shows he's been on. He's the only kid that's ever been on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, he was a little boy that they started out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with. So I don't know how many episodes he did with that, and he's been on, countless of shows, shot countless commercials. And at some point in time, the cute little boy stuff stopped, and the real work started. And now, you gotta remember now, he plays, and not just him, but other kids that are in the business as well, he's athletic, so he plays sports. So then he has friends, so he wants to hang out with his friends. So now we have to balance all of that in his work at the same time. And that's when it really becomes complex because, I see he's been acting since he was 4, so he's 13 now.
Oh wow.
But he was really, really fortunate along the way that he just had some things that before he could speak, they saw. And so he had a really good start. But as he progressed in his career, the roles became bigger, the lines became longer, the auditions became bigger, and they started meaning something. They, not so much that they meant something to him, but they meant something to everybody else that was casting him. So it's work, and the parents need to understand that, and when they decide that they don't want to do that work anymore, then give them that option.
Give them the option to stop.
Give them the options to stop. Yeah. And then they may come back to it.
Right.
But you have to not want to hang on to what you think is the best thing for them because it's emotional for them. All their life, their life transitions and all the things that they go through. And if you're not willing to do that, you can actually hurt a child more so than help them.
Do you think that's the onset of where we see where the child stars go awry? That is some of that. Would you say, Jessica? Have you seen something like that?
Yeah, I've worked with kids and seen their parents on set, and I have seen amazing examples of parents who did it right. For lack of a better word, just allowed their kid to basically dictate it. Not like give their kid an entitled type of energy, but like, okay, you want to do this? Great, let's go to this audition. There wasn't that pressure of like, my kid, no, okay, we're going to do that program and my kid needs to be the best and like, we're going to get him in and, he needs to be seen now, like that kind of thing. They were just like, hey, hey baby, do you want to do this? Yeah, sure, okay, great. And then the second they don't want to do it, they don't do it anymore. They let them have a normal life and let them dictate it. And I think it's more driven by the parents than anything else because, I think like George was saying, there's a sense of play there and they're having fun, but then eventually it's their childhood and I think things do get taken away from them and it's a sacrifice, so I think the best examples I've seen is just when the parents kind of let the kids lead and let them follow their own bliss and their joy, and then when they're not having fun anymore, be like, okay, great, be a regular kid. And if they want to go back, they go back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. That was the
It's interesting you say that, Jessica. That was our topic of discussion last week. We did a whole
Oh,
show
wow.
on the subject of sacrifice. And when you said that, that's why Lori and I kind of took a look at each other. Dante, how are we looking on time, handsome? Or it's time to go down, huh? We're gonna get ready to go on break, guys. We're gonna have a party here on our break time. It's always stirred up and juices going on here on the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips on YikesRadio.com. So hold on to your butts, Facebook listeners. Stay there. Don't leave. But everybody else, we're gonna take a break, right, Jess? You ready?
Right.
We'll be back.